Firstly, hands up who's ever seen a toddler in public picking his nose. Just, knows that everybody's looking at. He knows you're looking. She knows you're looking. She knows you're looking. You're judging. They don't care. No idea, no inhibitions at all. And that's a very superficial, I suppose, example. But we're not born with the fear of people judging us, are we? When we're younger, we don't care. So I was babysitting for my friend's kid probably about 2 weeks ago, and he pooed in the bath. I was like, I would never poo in the bath. Who would poo in the bath? He didn't care. He just sat there looking at me, laughing at me, like, look what I just did. No inhibitions at all. This is something that we learn. Judgment is a huge part of society. It's a reality. You only have to look at the media to see stories of people that have gone and given it a really good go, and then they've fallen flat on their face, haven't they? And they've been ridiculed. Or maybe they've said something stupid, or maybe it wasn't even something stupid, maybe it was just something a little bit different from everybody else. So they were ridiculed and judged again. Or, great example, anybody watch The Apprentice? Yeah? You just have to go to Facebook and Twitter during an episode of The Apprentice, or probably sit in my living room with my friends, everybody shouting at the telly. Judgment is a huge part of society. But it's not just a reality, it's actually a necessity. As human beings, we have to make decisions all day long, every day. Really, really big stuff, really small stuff. So small stuff like you're getting on the tube, you've got to decide who you're going to sit next to. You are walking down the street and you see some people walking up and you think, do I walk a little bit faster? I don't walk like that, by the way. Do I walk a little bit faster? Do I walk a little bit slower? In fact, I cross the road. And we have to make decisions on who to vote for. You know, we look at people and judge them and think, who are we going to vote for them? And my goodness, who are we going to spend our lives with? Who are we going to marry? You know, massive, massive decisions. And judgment has a part in those decisions. So it's an absolute necessity. And it's a good thing because it helps keep us safe. It helps keep our hearts safe, our minds safe, and our bodies safe. We need it. It's an absolute necessity. And I believe that that's really, really important to remember, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that now, because I actually believe that the biggest prison that people live in is the fear of what other people think. I don't know if you agree, but it was without doubt the biggest lesson I've had to learn. And judgment is a good thing, but if we don't handle it, if we don't process that in the right way, it can have a really negative, almost crippling impact on us. So I want to take you back in time to 1996, and I'm a 15-year-old girl, long time ago. And the fear of being judged is intense. So intense and real. Like a lot of young people, a lot of sort of young adults, I spent the majority of my teenage years growing up in foster care. Now that right there is something I have never ever said professionally, ever. I'm a 33-year-old woman, I've never said that. And I've never said it publicly either, for the fear of what other people will think, for the fear of being judged. But considering my talk today, I thought, hey, let's just whack it out there. And I would, thank you. And I was always really blessed, very, very blessed to live in wonderful homes, and I always felt really loved and cared for and protected. And I was a good kid. I was a really good kid, actually. I do say so myself. But there were a lot of people that were really judgmental, not so much people my own age, more my friends' parents. Not all of them. Some of them liked me more because of it and used to invite me around and give me extra dessert and stuff, which was wicked. But some of them just did not want their children hanging out with me. There were some people I couldn't call for. I had to meet them at the bus stop. And I remember one time we all went back to this friend's house after school just to play computer games, mess about, listen to music, that kind of stuff. And which was cool. I was invited. Yeah, wicked. However, we had to keep an eye out for when their parents came home. When they pulled up on the drive, little Aimee had to run out of the back door, hide in the garden and jump over the back wall because I wasn't meant to be in the house. Now, that, as a 15-year-old girl, is crippling. And I understand now that one person's perspective is their perspective. One person's opinion does not make that of the world. And I know that now. Didn't know it so much then. I suppose I started learning this at a very young age, but didn't know it so much then. And I wish, sometimes I just think, gosh, I'd love to have a little word with myself back in 1996. But we go forward to 2003. I've just graduated, and I've just finished my first week in my new job. I got my first job in recruitment, and it was wonderful. And I remember driving home on the Friday in my little Nissan Micra that cost me 50 quid, that was older than me, probably doing 20 miles an hour because it didn't go faster than that. And I'm driving, and I just remember feeling this self-esteem just almost sort of running through my veins, just thinking, oh my goodness, I like it. I like myself. I like what I see. This just feels amazing. And I remember feeling it almost in my veins. And for the first time, I was being judged from a completely different perspective. Nobody knew me. Nobody cared. They just cared how much money I was going to make them. Let's be real. That's what they cared about. And for the first time, and I was good at making the money. So they liked me, and they judged me from a completely different perspective. And for the first time, I felt seen, heard, and valued. And it was incredible, absolutely incredible. And I think that, Maslow talks about this in his hierarchy of needs. It doesn't matter who you are. You could be Mother Teresa. You could be a serial killer. But in our core DNA, we need to feel seen, heard, and valued. Sometimes by a lot of people, sometimes by a few. But we all have that. And for the first time, I felt seen, heard, and valued. So what about now? Well, now I put myself out there in a huge way. Like a lot of the wonderful people that we've listened to today, I'm a YouTuber. And I do a bit of telly, and I write for some publications and stuff. And I get the most wonderful messages from people all over the world. People see, hear, and value me more now than I ever imagined that they would, ever. I'm still at times that 15-year-old kid hiding in the garden. And I just think, I feel so blessed. I got an email from somebody in Kenya the other day saying that they'd watched one of my career advice videos. And I thought, I've never been to Kenya. And there's somebody over there saying that I helped them. And I thought, this is wonderful. And I cry sometimes. I cry a lot. I'm a bit of a softie. I've cried twice today, actually. And I cry sometimes at the vulnerability of these beautiful messages and these people sharing their stories, judging me for the right reasons, wonderful, but their vulnerability, they're giving me their life stories, and I just think, thank you for sharing, and it's beautiful. And then sometimes I get people telling me that they want to put their penis in my ear. Yeah, Woo! That was at Christmas, so Merry Christmas, that was lovely. And I've actually wrote down a few. Hi, Aimee, let me tell you something. No one cares what a dumb woman recruiter thinks. Why don't you just shut your mouth and get back behind the reception desk? Wow. Good tips. However, your Welsh accent makes me want to punch you in the face until you bleed. Oh, and you blink too much. Yeah. The truth is, it doesn't matter how much you put yourself out there. It doesn't matter how much success you have. It's a ratio. It's ratio stuff. It's a numbers game. The more people that are listening, the more people are going to judge you. And I appreciate that, and I understand that. But there are still times, 20 minutes ago was one of them, stood out there. There are still times when I feel the fear. I'm in the prison wondering what people are going to think, crippled, locked in. When I come out here, what are you guys going to think of me? I'm sure everybody felt like that today, everybody that we've kind of spoken to. But there are techniques and there are certain things that we can do to make that change, break out of that prison. And I think the first thing is to speak your truth. Speak your truth, not the truth of the person whose payroll you're sat on, your truth. Because when we are saying something that we are truly, truly passionate about, and we're doing it in the way that we want to do it, the need to be heard is so much greater than the fear of being judged. Number two, I think that, and this is something that I do, and encourage other people to do when I'm coaching them is to surround yourself with lighters. And I don't mean lighters, although you could do that, that would look pretty cool. A bit of a fire hazard, but yeah, whatever. Lighters, I call them lighters. People that make us feel incredible. We all know these people in our circle of trust, hopefully. People that make us feel like we can take over the world. And that's a really, really, really lovely technique, but it's not the solution. And this is a really important point, I think, because I've relied on this for a very, very long time. The danger of doing this and just surrounding yourself with fans, your supporters, and just, if you have a bad day, phone your best friend, get her to tell you how fabulous you are, that's great. Yes, fine. However, the danger is that you are still prioritizing somebody else's opinion over your own. And if we live by people's compliments, we will die by their criticism. So I think the real thing, the real change that we need to make is to actually go back to what I said when I first came out here. Judgment's coming. It's coming. It's not just a reality. It is coming. Accept that it is coming. Just as certain as I am that the sun is going to set this evening, somebody tomorrow is going to pass judgment on me and you. Probably more than once. Accept it. My goodness, almost welcome it. Hi, where have you been? I've been expecting you. Come on, hang out. Expect it. Welcome it. And then, once you've expected it, you have to choose whether you respect it. You can respect your haters, absolutely. Don't respect those guys too much, but you can respect some haters. You can absolutely decide on occasion to listen to it, to understand it. But then what you have to do, my goodness, very, very quickly, flip it. Reframe it really quickly. And remember that their perspective is their perspective. Your perspective is your perspective. It is understanding that it is your opinion where the real power lies. That's the good stuff. That's the power. And if we can master that, we can master all of that and remember to say what we want to say to the world in the way that we want to say it, then we become almost bulletproof. If we remember that this is where we live, right here, not over there, here, right here, then no one can touch us. They can't touch us. Not really.